Every February 2nd, tens of thousands of people drive to a small town in western Pennsylvania, stand in the freezing dark at a place called Gobbler's Knob, and wait for a group of men in top hats and tuxedos to pull a groundhog out of a fake tree stump. The groundhog then whispers his weather prediction in a secret language called groundhogese to the one man on Earth who can translate it. That man reads the prophecy from a scroll, and then everyone goes home. This is a federally acknowledged American tradition. It's been going on since 1887, and the groundhog is wrong more than 60% of the time. America is full of traditions like this, things we do every year without question that make absolutely zero sense when you actually stop and think about them. Punxsutawney Phil, that's his name, the only name he's ever had, has been making weather predictions since 1887. Here's how the ceremony works. Phil lives year-round in a climate-controlled burrow at the Punxsutawney Memorial Library with his mate, Phyllis. On February 2nd, he's transported to Gobbler's Knob and placed in a heated burrow under a fake tree stump. At 7:25 in the morning, the inner circle pulls him out. Phil then speaks to the president of the inner circle in groundhogese, a language that can only be understood through the possession of an ancient acacia wood cane. And here's the part that should bother you. The inner circle decides the prediction beforehand. The whole thing is scripted. You do better flipping a coin. In 2015, a groundhog in Wisconsin bit the mayor's ear on live television. A police department in Connecticut issued an arrest warrant for their local groundhog, and every single year, 30,000 people show up and do it again. Every Thanksgiving, the President of the United States stands in the Rose Garden and formally pardons a turkey. Not metaphorically, an actual, legal-sounding presidential pardon. The turkey is then escorted to a luxury retirement. Recent birds have stayed at the Willard Hotel in Washington, D.C. Nobody can agree on how this started. The popular story is that it began with Abraham Lincoln in 1863. His son Tad had grown attached to a turkey intended for Christmas dinner, named it Jack, and begged his father to spare it. Lincoln reportedly caved. But the only source for this is a newspaper account written after Lincoln's assassination, and historians aren't sure it actually happened. What we do know, the National Turkey Federation started formally presenting live turkeys to presidents in 1947. Harry Truman got the first one. His presidential library is on the record. Truman ate them. JFK was the first to actually spare one in 1963. The turkey arrived wearing a sign around its neck that said, "Good eating, Mr. President." Kennedy looked at it and said, "We'll just let this one grow." 3 days later, he was assassinated in Dallas. Then came the real twist. In 1987, Ronald Reagan was being hounded by reporters over the Iran-Contra scandal, specifically whether he'd pardon Oliver North. At the annual turkey presentation, Reagan deflected the question by joking about pardoning the turkey instead. It was a throwaway gag. But 2 years later, George H.W. Bush made it official. Standing in the Rose Garden in 1989, he told the bird, "Let me assure you, and this fine tom turkey, that he will not end up on anyone's dinner table." Think about what trick-or-treating actually is. You dress your child in a costume. You send them to a stranger's door after dark. They issue a threat. "Give me candy or I'll do something to your house." And the stranger complies. Then they move to the next house and do it again. Nobody is 100% sure how this became the defining ritual of an American holiday. The trail goes cold in about 6 different directions. The oldest thread traces back over 2,000 years to the Celtic festival of Samhain, when the veil between the living and the dead was believed to thin. People dressed in costumes to blend in with roaming spirits. By the Middle Ages, poor children in England were going door to door on All Hallows Eve, offering to pray for your dead relatives in exchange for small cakes called soul cakes. In Scotland and Ireland, kids did something called guising, showing up in costume to perform a song or trick in exchange for food or coins. When Irish and Scottish immigrants flooded into America in the 1840s, they brought these traditions with them. But here's the thing. For decades, Halloween in America wasn't about treats. It was about chaos. Kids used the night as an excuse to pull pranks, serious ones. Flipping outhouses, soaping windows, dismantling fences. By the 1920s, some cities were dealing with genuine vandalism and property damage. The treat was the bribe. Neighborhoods started organizing. Give the kids candy and maybe they won't destroy your porch. The phrase trick or treat first appeared in print in the early 1920s in Canadian newspapers. It didn't become standard in the US until the 1930s and 40s. And the whole thing cratered during World War II because sugar was rationed. After the war, candy companies saw their chance. The rise of suburbs meant safe, walkable neighborhoods. Individually wrapped candy replaced homemade treats. Today, Americans spend over $3 billion on Halloween candy every year.
If you like this video, you will probably love others too.